Good afternoon. It's nice to be here. How's it going in DEF CON so far? You guys enjoying it? Yeah. Awesome. So when we're thinking about the Recon, I used to do a lot of open source intelligence. So I thought, okay, let's take another approach. Of course, we will go to the social networks and all that stuff, but let's try to get information from source code. And that's the idea. That's the idea of this talk, to give you some tips. So that will be the talk. So we will see. So my name is Simon Roses. I'm founder of Bullnex. Bullnex is a startup back in Spain. I used to work in Microsoft in the security team, but now I'm doing my own thing. I also won a US DARPA, so I went here. I was invited here to the Pentagon, so it was quite interesting experience for me being a foreign. I usually go to many conferences and talk, and so that's pretty much everything. So the objective of the talk, can you guys hear me fine? Okay. If I cough or anything, sorry about that, because I'm a bit cold. So today I'm feeling better, but yesterday and Thursday I was miserable. But now hopefully I'm fine. So I will talk about some basic source code analysis. It will be quite basic. We will not go into too much detail how to do that. And then it will be more open source intelligence tactics, stuff we're looking for. So I'm sure most of you are familiar with those. But so how we can apply those to source code. So the agenda will be like an introduction. We will cover what we're going to achieve and why. We will start doing some open source intelligence on some developers and the source code, and then we will do some conclusions. Yeah, this is something I've been working. So this is work in progress, and I thought, okay, let's go to the Recon village in DEF CON and show some ideas I'm working on, and hopefully we can have a nice discussion after with some beers. That always helps, and how we can improve this. This I think is quite a new field. I haven't seen much people talking how to do open source intelligence and in source code, and also how to do developer profiling and all that stuff in source code. There's some research on that, but still it's a interesting field to get into. And so I will show you what I'm working on, but I'm sure there's much more things we can do. So hopefully people can come up with some nice ideas and we can improve those. So introduction. So, I mean, that's I guess most of you are familiar with that, right? It was one of the famous Stephen Ballmer when he was in Microsoft, not anymore, but when he was there, he gave a speech there, and I have seen him in person, and he's always like energy, quite insane actually, but funny. And he's one of the famous talks he was giving, and he was saying developers, right? Of course, in Microsoft, it's one of the most important things, right? In the company, at the end, it's a software company. So for many companies, it's the same, right? So yeah, we will. In this case, we will target. The idea is to target the developers. We want to get information through the developers. Why developers? I mean, I'm a developer myself, so I think why developer? I think it's quite interesting, right? Of course, this is only applies to companies who develop software, right? If the company doesn't have any developers, this is not going to help. But there are more companies having their own developer stuff, right? So most of the time, developers are really technical people, but not security savvy. And that's true. I know a lot of they are really good developers. They are not into too much security. So that's perfect for us when we are doing open source intelligence. We can take some benefit there. And also developers, from my point of view, of course I'm a developer and I do a few things. So I guess I'm biased for that. But in most companies, okay, they are not like decision makers most of the time, but quite often they are influencers. So they help high management where we should go, what technology. So there are people. So those guys are influencers. So that's good. They have some certain power in the company. Perfect. And also they usually have access to information and systems. So that's perfect. They can go to. They have maybe access to information or systems that other people in the company don't have. Sometimes they have too much information because they are developing, and I need full access to the system. Well, you don't need that, but most companies, okay, you get everything. So that's perfect. So, okay, that's quite convenient for us. And of course, there are habits there, right? I mean, you guys are developers, you know, we love science fiction. Who doesn't, right? If you don't, you are in the wrong, I guess. Anime, a lot of people go for anime. Porn, I mean, of course, right? Not only developers, I guess, but that's something we can exploit. And of course, beer, right? That's some things that the developers love, and we can benefit. I mean, we can exploit that, right? And we are getting information, and then we are going to do more like social engineering attacks. I'm not going to talk about social engineering attacks here because that's not what I want. But after I pull out all the information I need, I know information about the developers, and I can focus on those areas that chances are I will be able to attract his attention through these habits, and that's quite common to see that. Some methodology I like to follow. Instead of just going, for example, I have to target a company, right? We usually start with the domains, the IPs. Maybe, hopefully, I can do some Google searches, try to find some emails and stuff like that. That's usually most of us start, right? Okay, so the way I went is, okay, I have to target a company. Probably at this point, I don't know anyone there, but hopefully I can go and check if they have any GitHub reports or something like that. Okay, so let's go to the reports and start downloading those. So I will start downloading the reports, the code reports, and now the GitHub is a huge thing these days, right? So that's the place I will go to start there. And then I will start looking for open source patterns in code. So I will do some of the things I usually do in Google searches and stuff like that, but applying into source code. And after that, I have a bunch of information there. Of course, I will just go more traditional way with social networks and different tools and stuff, right? So that's the way I'm going with this. Of course, with things we can search in the patterns. We can start searching in the code, right? We have some of the classic things. Usually we do in Google searches or with different tools, right? We look for APIs, domain names, URLs, emails, well, credit cards, maybe in source code sometimes, and phone numbers. We can also find phone numbers. So there's a bunch of different information there. We can start pulling out in source code. And more, I've been I've been doing code reviews for a long time. So actually now these days people are starting to put in more comments and nicer in the source code, and that's quite nice for us. If you start looking old code, pretty much there's no comments or anything. But for us right now, most modern code is quite perfect. And actually, things we can start looking into source code as well is Twitter alias. That's not so common. Actually, when you go to the GitHub report, people usually put their alias there. So it's perfect. Now I have that information. I can start doing more things. But usually in the source code, I haven't seen it so often. People usually, they put their name and maybe the email, but not so often the Twitter alias. But that's something we should start looking at. And of course, the comments. It depends how well people write their comments and in detail and stuff like that. But sometimes we can also find some interesting piece of information in the comments. So that's the thing I will start looking into source codes. So, right, give me a source code, right? So usually we don't have any documentation. I don't care about that. In this case, usually when you ask, when I do code reviews, I usually ask documentation, but usually they don't give me any. So I'm used to read code. So and in this case, it's perfect. In this case, we download the repos, and now we have to focus on the source code. So yeah, we will start reading the source code. I mean, it doesn't need. We don't need to really read the source code. We will do some search there, so we don't have to go through the code. It's up to you. It depends what you're looking for. And here we can start some examples, right? Here we start doing some, for example, I have here a target. It can be a person, a company, but now, for example, look in this is the header. I'm opening this program. This is the American Fuzzy Lab. It's a fuzzer, very popular fuzzer. Okay, so just looking at the header, that's quite common that people write headers into the source code. This is a C program, as you can see at the end, flanalyze.c, it's a C program. But now, for example, here, I'm supposed to target this company, whatever. But now I have like 3 pieces of information I can start work. So I downloaded their repo, and now I know, for example, I have a name, I have an email address, and I have a company. So from this, I just got 3 pieces of information. Now I can, I can start getting that information. I can start keep going and get more info. So for just looking at the header, now I have 3 things. By just downloading this code, I can start applying more techniques. Same here. Now I have downloaded the AirCAC source code, and again, I have actually, and now it's the same. I have several pieces of information that are quite interesting. We can see that somebody, Christopher, started in 2004, 2005, how he started the project, but now Thomas has taken over. So we can see there's a relationship. Those 2 guys have been working on the same project, and one of them took the over. Okay, we're starting to create relationships. So that's interesting. If you guys know, in social networks and stuff like that, we do a lot of relationship analysis. So now we start making relationships there. And right now I'm doing this in my mind, but we can start writing that down. And also we can see there's more people there that are mentioned. So I have more names. So I can start looking, okay, there's people in relationship. Then after, maybe I can go to different social networks and start see they are following each other or what they say, they are friends or not. So I'm here starting relationships. We want to move other type of like social engineering attacks or whatever. Probably with these guys it's not going to work, but that's just an example, right? But that's the way I will start. So okay, so now we have starting names and relationships, so that's good. So now we have some information I can start work with. So I guess some tools, right? At the end it's all about the tools, right? So in this case, I'm going to cover some different tools we can start using. There are many more, but some of the most I use, and I'm sure in time I will add more, that's for sure. And some of the tools I'm using have to improve a lot as well. So, but at least but there are some tools we can start using right away, so I think they are nice. Okay, one of the first tools I like is GitHubRank.com. And it's a nice tool to give you a ranking of the different repos in GitHub. So we can, for example, this is I gave me the rank of the top project for GitHub related to C language. And of course, the first one is Linux source code with Torvalds there, right? So that's quite interesting. And this site can help me to start getting, if I'm looking for particular repos, I can see how popular they are and people are downloading or stuff like that. So, okay, that's a good start to get a feeling of the popularity of this repo. It doesn't make sense if I'm targeting a company to look for open source intelligence and I start looking repos that doesn't have any value. I'm just wasting my time. So yeah, that's a good way to start to get some feeling of the popularity of the repo. Okay, cool. So you can see there's a lot of interesting stuff there. Another tool I like is GripWrap. Anyone familiar with this tool? That was released a couple of years ago. Actually, the idea of the tool is to reconnaissance GitHub repos for private keys and credentials and stuff like that. But it gives you more information we can use for a more open source intelligence approach. So the tool looks for credentials and private keys and different stuff. So it's quite nice to use. For our purpose to start. And this is the tool. It will go to a repo and start downloading those repos and the users and some information that's quite interesting for me. So this is the UI of the tool. It's a web application, so it's quite nice. So let me show you. Okay, let's go there. I have it running here locally. Okay. one. Because I don't have any connection, it's trying to connect outside, so it will time out. Well, actually, hopefully when it's time out, it will give me the images. The tool, what it does, it will start showing this is different repos of usually the way it works, you will give the tool here. You go to a new assessment, and it will ask you for like a organization name or a repo, and it will go there and pull out the information there. Okay. So now it's trying to connect. It's not connecting. Okay. So actually here by the name, I start putting some repos. Usually when it has connection here, it will show you the images. Now it's trying to connect externally, and I have the Wi-Fi turned off. I don't know why, but so now it's not showing the image. But anyways, I pretty much know that. So first one is the repo for Raspberry, ID software, PLC. Those are some popular repos I started getting. I've also Nmap, Metasploit, just to give me an idea of the people. If we go, for example, for the first one, let's go there. Yeah, here the tool, as I say, is looking for credential, private key. So you guys have your company GitHub reports. It's a nice tool just to make sure you have not published any credential or anything like that. But I'm not using the tool right now in that sense. What I'm looking for is the user approach. That's something I'm interested. I don't know if we're going to show me the pictures. Let's see. Oh, it's not showing me the pictures because it's a connection. It's trying to connect there. Okay. I didn't check that, but I came prepared just in case. Okay. So I put the video because it's trying to connect all the time and not showing the pictures. So just in case, I did a small video because this is definitely you never know. So this is when you have the reports, it's showing the pictures. And the interesting things is start showing me the users and what pieces of code they have been working. So that's nice. Now I have information. I start seeing relationships there. Well, this is one of the reports, ID software, with the Doom game. Who doesn't love the game, the Doom, right? From the old days. And we will take a look in a little bit as well at the Doom. So here we have some reports and map, Metasploit and stuff. I don't think that's the original Metasploit, but anyways, it's nice to take a look. So yeah, we can see the different pictures, and pictures can tell us a lot of information there. Okay, if we go to the Raspberry repo, we can see all the files here. But as I say, I'm not really interested in that at the moment. Well, when I'm looking for vulnerabilities, of course I am. But right now I'm more interested in the users and what information I can get from those users. And that tool is quite convenient. For example, this is one of the developers, Damien. I can click, and now it's giving me some info there. Move there. Okay, so and now I have a name, I have a place he's working, a location, and a Twitter account. So now I have a bunch of information. Now I can keep going and start targeting more this user, right? So that's quite convenient for me. And of course, the funny thing, the nice of the tool is that all information is put into PostgreSQL server. So everything, what you see here is stored in a SQL server. So you can also make your own queries and search for info. So that's quite convenient. I find this tool quite nice. It's a simple tool, but very nice. So now I have the Twitter account. I can do more things. We will do in a little bit. Okay, I can look the pictures and give me an idea of this should be a fun guy, I guess. Okay, I have a mail address. Yeah, of course I can go to Google and do some searches and stuff like that. But right now I want to avoid that for a reason. Actually, there are more counterintelligence companies creating fake information on social networks and all that stuff, and they monitor those sites. But right now the repos are not that monitored. So now I'm getting a lot of info without going for social networks at the moment. So trying to avoid those counterintelligence companies. So that's one of the things I'm trying with this research. So yeah, I have location there, and I can start pulling this info and use other well-known tools as we use with this, right? So it's quite convenient. Okay, so that was the GitHub repo. I found this tool quite nice. It's not showing me the pictures. No. Well, there were a few more pictures I wanted to show, but I cannot do that. So I didn't tell without connection. I was all the time connected, so I didn't realize I need connection for that. But anyway, just go, and it's very easy to set up. So that was good, because usually open source tools are a pain in the ass. But that one is quite easy to install and use. So go give it a try. It's a nice tool. Okay, so the only thing is in Ruby, but that's the only thing I can complain of. So now, okay, so that was GitHub. So a nice tool to start getting some information of the users and the report and connections. Of course, there's a lot of crawlers, and there are many more. That's some of the crawlers I have seen. And writing your own code is also easy. It's not that hard, I mean. So if you don't want to use GitHub, you can just, for example, go this. The first two are Python-based, and the other one, I think, is in JavaScript. So there are many more. I think there are some Ruby crawlers. So there is a lot of people who have been releasing GitHub crawlers we can use. And we don't want to use the GitHub tool before. We can use those crawlers and pull or we can also do a Git clone that works too. But that allow us to do a lot of repos at the same time, right? So some of the tools we can start using, especially if we want to automatize things. Okay, so another thing I've been working lately, and that's funny thing we're in DevCon, so everything, I guess everything is allowed, but anyways, and just to make sure, hopefully you guys don't get offenses, it was not me, it's the source code, so don't get offense or anything like that, but you will be surprised what you can see in source code. And the idea for this is to look for bad words in the source code, because this is some basic developer profiling. I want to get a feeling how this guy feel. I want to be, is this guy angry or not? And source code is, so I've been working usually in Twitter, it's quite common to do that, the sentiment analysis, we will talk about a little bit. And I apply the same techniques into source code. That's a bit tricky, that we have to still, it needs more work, for sure. But yeah, so we will give it so I will show you a few things, right? So if you look into the Linux source code, this is for real. This is what you can find in the Linux source code. So you can see, I guess at some point I can move with this. I'm not sure. So you can see at the between 3.6 versions there, 2.6.9 and 3. So something happened. Because I don't know what happened there. I don't know what happened there, but there was a lot of shit and crap and everything pretty much. So I guess they were working on something new, I guess. But you can see that there. Yeah, so there was a lot of angriness there going on, and the thing is just going up. So I guess it's not stopping, but that's funny. That gave me an idea what's going on with those people, right? So yeah, but everything is not that bad. I mean, it's not only bad words. You can also find good words. Okay, so that's fine, right? So we have some love, we have some good, nice and sweet and kiss, right? But looking both things, we can see more angriness than happiness. So we should be concerned about that. I don't know. But yeah, so not everything is bad. So that's good. If you go to that URL, you will find more funny metrics, and like this one with just related to the Linux kernel. So it's quite funny. Okay. So let's do the same for the repos we are working on. One other thing when I've been doing this is, you guys into more data science with all the process in data science with information. There is the process we have to do data cleaning, right? You get information, but not all information you need is what you don't need all the information you collect. You have to do some cleaning. And the source code it's gonna happen big time. Because, for example, in the case of the comments, you get so much cap, you don't need that, and it doesn't have any value for us. Like, for example, in comments, you can also find code. We don't want that. We don't get pretty much any results for that. If we're going to do more like sentiment analysis or anything like that, or it's not going to help. Some code statements, nothing I can use. We also there's a lot of bar characters like $sign equal and all that stuff. We should remove that. It's the same when we do Twitter analysis. Usually remove the hashtag and all that stuff. The same thing. So, and also when I was looking around, there's just a lot of useless text, especially with license. People put all the license in the source code and doesn't give me anything because that code is not from the developer, so I don't need that. And we can see a lot of that into source code. So that's things. So right now I'm something we have to improve a lot because I've been writing some tools and stuff, but this is much more to be done because there is so much stuff in the comments I don't need. So right now it's something we have to improve, how to get comments that I can really use. So for example, and here, for the comment, for example, we have here, I don't know, let's see. For example, we can do, this is one of the tools I use. Tools, projects. Let's do, I don't know, which one? Mmap, I guess. See. And now this, because I didn't do the /b. No? Okay, now what the tool did, it created a, no, something wrong there. Okay, my bad. Okay, there. So what I did is I used a small tool I wrote, and that tool I have to improve a lot. But now it's going to the repo, I download it, and I'm telling look for C files and pull out all the comments. So yeah, so as you can see, there's so much stuff there. It's not like Twitters. Like if you go to tweet, you can start downloading all the tweets and do some and take those tweets and analyze them. Here we have to do a lot of cleaning. And that's a thing I'm working, but there's much more work to do because you can see we have so much stuff that doesn't mean anything. For example, we have a license here, so we have to remove that. So there's a lot of data cleaning we have to perform to really get some information I can use or get a feeling of the developers. So yeah, so that's a work in progress. But just to give you an idea, what things we have to do, right? As you can see, this numbers here probably doesn't have any value for me. Yeah, so sometimes you can see comments that are really interesting, but I don't know where I can find any of those right now. But yeah, just looking around. So that takes time. So this right now is a bit manual process. We have to start. Usually, what I do is I pull all this to a CVS, and then I can open with different tools and start removing some things. But it's quite time-consuming at the moment, right? If anyone have a good idea to manage this, perfect. Just let me know. I'm working on different things to speed up this process, but right now it's a bit time-consuming. Well, data cleaning is always is. Even in data science, anyone familiar with that, it's a hard process, right? Not everything can be automized. It's hard sometimes. Okay, as you can see, we can get so much comments and stuff. The only thing is we have to find the information we want there. Chances are we can find something can be used, but we have to find it first. But at least we start narrow things, right? I use source code. Now from the source code, I'm getting comments. Now I can start, I'm just narrowing the information I want. Okay, so you can see there's a lot of comments here and stuff. So just being there and taking some time to see what's going on. Okay, so that's we can find some interesting things in the comments. But let's move on, and hopefully it will be more interesting. So another tool I developed. This tool is a source code intelligence tool. I use this tool to compile projects. What I do is an analyzer there. It's a tool that runs inside GCC. When you are building projects, it will pull out intelligence from the source code. So it only works in GCC and for C code. But at the same, I'm starting putting. So now it has become a framework. So I'm adding more tools into the framework called Profanitor and OSINT there. So Profanity will look for bad words in the code, and OSINT will look for open source intelligent patterns in the source code. And those two are completely language agnostic. It will go for the files. Analyzer has to be run inside GCC for C code, but OSINT and Profanitor is completely agnostic. So those are the tools we can start using to get some information. Okay, so for the functions, so I'm not going to run them because, Profanity is not that, Profanity is more or less fast depending on the size of the code base, but OSINT takes quite a long to run. So I will skip that. I've already run them in several reports to get some results. So for example, let's do the Doom. That's the Profanitor. So what I did is I run a Profanitor tool and create a JSON file with all the bad words, and now I use another tool inside in the framework to generate a report. And this is the Doom source code from the game, right? And we can start seeing some words there, right? So don't get offense. You see something there. So yeah, we can see there is hello, suck, fuck, shit, ass, bastard, sucks, asshole. I don't know. You go there to the and sometimes if you go there and check the file, maybe you can find a comment there that sometimes they talk about somebody else in the company, or this code sucks, and actually sometimes they also tell that shit, this code sucks because it's hard, or they have a vulnerability or a bug or whatever. So that's also convenient for us.
It's just two bad word files, dictionaries and English.
No, right now I'm using two dictionaries, English and I was just looking for English and Spanish. But in the Tintorera there's dictionaries for, I think, 15 language, from Chinese, I don't know, there's a lot. The only thing is, for speed, because I was only interested in English and Spanish, I removed all of them, but you download the tool, you have all the dictionaries. The only thing is it takes a bit longer to run because it's looking all the words. Yeah, but it's pretty much, yeah, I mean, it was a US company, it's in Texas. So yeah, they were pretty much, so I guess all the bad words are in English, that makes sense. Yeah, so there is a bunch of there. And the funny thing is, I guess when things are moving forward, things are getting nastier, because this is the code for the Doom, for the Doom. And as you can see, they are not that much. So okay, that's okay actually in terms of bad words. If you go to, for example, Quick Stream, from the same people, and that's so you can see that actually there's a lot of X there, but there are more there. Fuck, yeah. So there's a bunch of words. So there are more actually. So this is a newer game. Well, the newer game is several years old, but they use more bad words in the game than before, right? So I guess there are more stress. I don't know. Hardcore. I don't know. When you start looking at those files, it's very funny to see where that word is and what they're saying there. So that started giving me a feeling about these guys. Yeah, that was funny. Actually, you go to the clusterfuck, that one I look it up because I say, what's going on here? Actually, it's a function there, and they say this function is a clusterfuck. It has to be fixed. So when I'm looking for vulnerabilities, that's a place I will go, that's for sure. Okay, so that was the Profanity tool, right? So that's quite nice to start looking and get a feeling, right? So now we can do. Actually, there was another thing I did before. Let me actually. So what I did is I started taking some of the developers of these reports. So I was looking at these reports. I didn't show you, for example, TensorFlow. You guys familiar with Google framework? And actually, there's pretty much no bad words in TensorFlow. And the code base is huge. So I don't know if the people in Google are nice or there's some kind of backward policy. I don't know, but I was surprised about that. It's a huge code base and pretty much there's no backwards. So I don't know if there's some policy or not. But for example, looking on those are, what I did here is I downloaded, those are the tweets from several developers. And I downloaded tweets and I submitted to sentiment analysis API to give me a feeling of these guys, of the angriness. Can you guys guess who is the most angry person here? No guess there? Excuse me, who? Who? Carmack. Actually, that's right. That's Ron Carmack. That's the developer of Doom and Quake. If you go downstairs, so those are the tweets, and that's actually easy. That's very easy to do with Python script, and take the tweets and submit it to an API for analysis. And it's free, actually, so I always do that. So here you go to, so now I have some statistics, so let me move that there. So yeah, we can see actually this guy is more negative than positive. So that's quite interesting to give me an idea of when I'm profiling this developer. No wonder there's so much white buggers in the games, in the source code. So that's quite interesting to do, right? We have also the VLC, because you know, guys, VLC, there's also some different type of vulnerabilities there. So I want to, when I'm looking for vulnerabilities in software, it's always nice to get a feeling of how these guys are feeling. Yeah, okay, more or less neutral, okay. So yeah, you can do those type of things to just to give me an idea of the developer. So I think it's quite nice. And then we have also the open source patterns. At the end, there's one of the tools in the Tintorera framework, the OSINT, that pretty much do this, but also you can do it, you can also do it by your own. So at the end, we will look for IP links, emails, and different stuff in the source code. I don't want to go to the Google or anything to start doing searches at the moment. I'm looking on the source code, and you will find a lot of information there, quite interesting, doing the same thing. So for example, here is a TensorFlow, the repo in TensorFlow. So just a regular expression there. I'm looking for email address. So now I have a bunch of address. Of course, I have to do some cleaning there. That's easy to do. And now I can take all those email address and use all the different other tools, open source intelligence, and put those emails and start getting information about this. So it's quite nice. And the good thing is, many times people in source code, they forget stuff, they put more links, internal IPs, so that's quite convenient. So now I have information about more sensitive information that chances of doing Google searches, I might or might not find them. Okay, well, that's some of the queries, I mean, that's, I don't know. So that's not too excited there. That's for example, I can post those online, but those are some of the queries I use, and you can also find them in the tutorial tool. That one is for look for email address, IPs, and stuff like that. So no worry, I can post those. Those are my simple regex expressions to search for information, right? Okay, and now, for example, so now I can have links, IPs, domain names, names of the developers, so a bunch of information now. Okay, after doing some cleaning, I can start using my regular open source tool that the open source intelligence tools we all learn, right? I can start putting those information into Maltego, Recon NG, Datasploit, and of course some custom scripting tools, right? I have a bunch of custom tools. I've used all this information I get from the source code, pass it to those scripts. And now we can just go a regular approach in the open source intelligence, OSINT. So yeah, so from a point of view, I think the source code is gold, because many times people don't pay too much attention. They just submit to the repos. So in source code, we can find open source intelligence, we can find email, links, IPs, and stuff like that. We can sometimes find sensitive information. People forget tokens, credentials, and stuff like that. So we can also, so that's nice. We can also do comments and sentiment analysis. We have to do a lot of cleaning of the comment, but we can still do so getting a feeling of the developers, and of course we can also find vulnerabilities. So yeah, so in my opinion, source code is really nice. It's a gold mine. The only thing is we have to harvest that. And of course, from talking with people, yeah, there's a lot of, I was mentioned before, there's a lot of, there are several companies doing content intelligence and stuff like that. They put fake data in social networks and other stuff to make open source intelligence harder. But core repos at this time, from my understanding, people don't pay so much attention. So we can go to the repos and start getting info without going to the social network or don't making any attention to go to the social network, for example. And pretty much we can get a lot of information as well. So yeah, so source code is gold. So next steps, there's a lot of work to be done. So yeah, we have to, for sure, we have to do some, actually, it's, when we're talking, I don't know, we'll see, I don't know. I was talking with Data Spirit, and actually they were saying that they want to also add some stuff like this into Data Spirit. I think that's quite nice, right? So yeah, so we have to improve this field, I guess. So we need more improved tools, that's for sure, and more automation, that's for sure. For the comments, there's a lot of with the cleanup analysis and classification of the comments, so that's quite nice. And I didn't go too much into detail into developer profiling, but also working on that. And the idea is you take source code and look in different type of parameters. I can give you an idea of profiling the developer, looking for how he writes, what's his style of coding, and we can find similar coding of the developer in other places. So that's developer profiling, and that's an interesting field. But it's related, more or less related, but it's another thing. So yeah, so these are a lot of things we have to improve in this thing. And of course, we should start adding or Datasploit or Recon NG or other tools. Start adding this source code analysis and get information into those tools. So yeah, that's that's pretty much the talk. I don't know how I am in time. I'm good or not, or what time is it? I don't know. I'm also, okay. So you guys have any questions, comments? Yes, please.
I noticed that you posted the source code as a zip file to get.
Yes.
You can't run your code against your code.
Yeah, that's the point. Yeah, that's called that's open source ops.
We also
No, that's
contribute to your code.
yeah. I know. I have to fix that. Yeah. You guys have any more questions? If you guys want to talk about open source intelligence or something like that, probably I will be in the bar in the afternoon, so come and grab me for a beer and we can talk some. You have any more questions? If not, thanks a lot. It's been a pleasure being here and no, thanks.